we know that he's mentally ill, right? Like, whether he sat for 45 days or 46, like, he's still mentally ill.
Mental illness is a topic Alicia Runyon knows well. She's a therapist who runs her own practice, a practice that would soon become the site of her stalker's arrest.
So he actually went to the same elementary school that I went to, and then we went to high school together.
Runyon and Matthew DeSavio knew each other back then, but were never friends.
Would you say he was infatuated with you?
Yes, it seems to be the case.
A case of infatuation that lasted several years, a case that would eventually put DeSavio in prison.
A man is accused of threatening a 1 October-style massacre on the...
In October 2022, Metro Police arrested DeSavio for threatening a mass shooting on the Strip.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
After refusing to appear in court for months, he was present for this competency hearing 74 days after he first stepped into jail.
I am finding him incompetent to proceed based on the findings of Dr. Colosimo.
Clark County District Court Judge Christy Craig ordered him to mental health treatment that courts interpret are part of a constitutional right to due process, and treatment that's required to start within 7 days. By the end of March, 5 months after his arrest, DeSavio remained in a cell at the Clark County Detention Center, receiving none of that mandatory treatment. That's when DeSavio's public defender filed this motion to have his case dismissed, citing the state's failure to provide prompt restorative treatment within 7 days. The judge ordered the state again to move him within 7 days, and when they didn't,
The charges are hereby dismissed and the defendant is released from custody.
now in custody for 6 months, the same judge said DeSavio's rights were violated because he was just sitting in jail, and she closed the case. Matthew DeSavio was a free man.
I just want you to a friend, Alicia. I miss you. I need you as a friend.
Within days, DeSavio started leaving messages on Runyon's phone.
So the first message, he's like, I'm just calling my best friend, which would be me. I'm just checking in on you.
That over-the-phone check-in soon escalating to in-person visits. 2 months after his release, DeSavio was coming to Runyon's office trying to find her. Video the 8 News Now investigators obtained shows him leaving these notes and letters where he mentions a previous protection notice that required him to stay away. Runyon, pregnant with her third child at the time, called police, who she says told her there wasn't much they could do.
They said that they would take him to jail, but that he would probably be released. And he was, because he came back the very next day.
And the next day, that's exactly what he did. This time, after so many years of being ignored, DeSavio's demeanor changed. Bye, Alicia, this Facebook post said, alongside a threat of another mass shooting at a Vegas Golden Knights game.
Tonight, our CBS affiliate KLAS.
That made national news, with officers arresting DeSavio hours before the hockey game.
And now everybody wants to take this seriously.
Soon, DeSavio was back in jail, back in the system that let him go.
Do you think he was actually going to do something to you?
Like, he may have tried to kill me. I honestly believe that.
And the fact that people are not getting to those services within 7 days is bad for everybody.
DeSavio's case is one of several Clark County Chief Deputy District Attorney Jay Rahman mentions when arguing against dismissal.
When you release somebody who's charged with a serious criminal offense, who has a mental illness, and that mental illness hasn't been addressed, what's going to happen?
As the 8 News Now investigators reported Monday, that 7-day window is a time frame set through a legal decree. The state has 7 days to transport a defendant deemed incompetent from jail to one of its 2 facilities.
How often is that 7-day window actually happening?
Never.
In court, Rahman can only represent the people's best interest when this issue goes before Judge Craig. In DeSavio's case, he waited 150 days for treatment only to have his first case dismissed entirely. This time, now 2 months after his arrest for stalking Runyon and for threatening mass violence.
I'm finding him competent to proceed to adjudication.
Doctors found him well enough for Craig to rule that he could stand trial.
We don't control anything in that process.
So you're just sitting ducks waiting for them to come back?
Yes.
Sitting ducks who, in this case, watched Alicia Runyon become a sitting duck herself.
Did anyone fail here?
Yeah, I think, the court system failed, the state failed, the police. It's really hard to get someone to listen to you.
Runyon says someone finally listened as she told a judge what a decade of stalking did to her and her family.
He threatened to kill my husband and shoot up our home, calling me vile names and making me fear for my life every day.
And now every day feels a little safer, though it's little comfort overall.
I'm glad that for the next 5 years he's in jail, is what I'll say.
Matthew DeSavio pleaded guilty but mentally ill and is serving a 6 to 15-year sentence. And those two words in that plea, mentally ill, are really important here because this means the judge, when giving that sentence, stipulated that he gets treatment in prison. During his sentencing, DeSavio apologized and said he was ashamed. And as you saw there, it's kind of like a therapy session that she and I had because her office is so small. Imagine she knows she's in the lobby and she's just trying to hide from it.
It's terrifying.
Anxiety for sure. David, now we watched what happens in the courtroom for 2 days now. Does the judge really have any control?
We've attempted to talk to her. Judges often don't do interviews. That's, kind of their thing. They got to be impartial. But we got to make it clear that she's really the arbitrator here. She's trying to compel the state to do something. She can fine them those $500 a day that we told you in our report on Monday while the defendant sits there waiting for one of these beds. And contrary to what people think of this story as they were responding to it on Twitter yesterday, she didn't just release Matthew DeSavio. She gave them several times in several opportunities.
Maybe our viewers are wondering, are there any solutions? You say there are.
Yeah, so
options.
the state, they've been talking about this for 20 years now, but they hope to have hundreds of new beds here in Clark County by the next decade, by the end of the decade, I should say. And there is a program already underway here in court where some of these crimes, misdemeanor crimes, get what they call diverted. We will show you what happened in one of those cases tomorrow here at 6 o'clock.
Excellent job with this.
Thank you.
David, thank you.